Do you ever think how easily it could have been 5 different boys? Or
Oh, it could have very easily. There was a lot of guys there our age. That's just chances now, or whatever it was. We'll never know how it was done, but thank God it was done.
you were travelling the world, but how much of it did you actually get to see?
Not much, to be honest. That was always the bit that I kind of struggled with. When I was 18, all I wanted to do was, if I was in Sydney, I wanted to go and see the Harbour Bridge, or I wanted to go and see the Eiffel Tower in Paris, or like I've probably driven past the Eiffel Tower about 1 billion times, and I was under it for the first time about 4 weeks ago.
Because you just couldn't have done that?
You just can't get out, yeah, you just can't get out the door. It's pretty much as simple as that. At the end of it, we were just like, we're tired. You know what I mean? We've been doing it since we were 16, 17 years old, and we were just like, right, everyone, let's just chill out for a while.
Is it hard to shake the boy band label?
I don't mind not shaking it, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for it. No.
Has Niall quit One Direction?
No, never.
So one of the amazing things about One Direction is the way that you seem to be the best friends in the world, and yet you didn't even know each other.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I mean, you know, you take 5 kids who've never been in the music industry, you put them in a band together, and suddenly they're having so much fun. It's really difficult to not just have the best time of your life doing this new thing, you know.
Did you like the music you were playing?
Yeah, I did.
The whole time?
I did.
All the way to the end?
All the way to the end.
My favourite part about touring with the boys was when we were younger, we used to spend a lot of time together on the tour bus. And when we did our first American tour, we had a really tiny, small bus, and it was just a lot of fun and just hanging out. And it was like, I don't know, that was the time when we got to know each other best, I think, throughout the band.
What do you miss most about being a part of that group?
I think it's just the day-to-day craziness and having.
It gets addicting, I think.
Yeah, it's very just like fun all the time. You know, if for instance, awkward interviews or whatever. Like they were our favourite interviews. So if it was going south, we would make sure it went further south.
Fair enough.
You know, we'd make something happen during the interview to make it really funny, but whatever. I just like having people around all the time.
Yeah.
Niall was just here a couple weeks ago. He told us something, and we're gonna play this back for you.
This is scary. I remember one time, I don't know where it came from, but Louis had this thing where he used to like me and Louis used to just, anytime you watch interviews of us, you always see me and Louis like giggling or something, and just because we'd be making up how to answer the next question, and I remember like Louis said to me, he goes, right, I'm just gonna do this, and then. We're at the usual. We were asked about love interests all the time, and Louis told everyone that I was seeing Carly Rae Jepsen. And I just sat there and went, what? It was kind of like he just nudged me and went, watch this.
Yeah, me and Niall always used to have a laugh in interviews. And I could always get away with stuff like that with Niall. You know, some of the boys, because, you know, naturally, the people are going to write stories about this. Some, you know, some of the boys might have been a little bit annoyed about that. But Niall always was a good sport in that situation. And, yeah, I just used to connect him to loads of different people, make up loads of just bull for the press, just because we could. It was fun, you know what I mean?
Well, you're doing...
Right, what's next?
Worst gig.
Worst gig ever did?
Yeah.
We always used to talk about this show we did, like it was our first show on our first ever tour with 1D. In a place called Watford in the northwest of the city of London, and we basically everything we did in rehearsals we didn't do on that night. It couldn't have gone any worse if we tried. Every single thing we did wrong, singing wrong lyrics, singing other people's parts. I couldn't even tell you, like missing changes, missing everything. It was just a disaster.
Like so flop sweat, like you knew you're not doing
just
well.
Standing on stage, just going, do you know what's going on? No, well either do I.
Who broke up the band? Who was it?
It was actually a collective.
you all decided at the same time, did you?
Yeah, it'd be like if you guys split up here, the show's over. You'd all start blaming each other. I know you would.
No, it'd be my fault. It'd be my fault.
Yeah, just a collective decision. I think we'd done 5 albums, 5 years, 5 tours. And at some point that takes its toll on you in terms of no matter how people always used to say, but you're young, you can do it. You try it.
I'll give it a bash. It'll be fun.
And it is. There's obviously a lot. We had a lot of fun. But obviously, you tire yourself out to a point, take a break, go off and do stuff like this. And if it happens again, we'll come back with a bang, yeah.
Do you miss being in the band? Do you miss the other guys? Because enough time has gone. I know there were tensions.
It's been a
obviously.
while.
Yeah, how long?
I mean, we've nearly been out of the band as long as we were in it, which
That's
is
it,
a
yeah.
weird thing to think about because it was like, at one point it was your whole life and now obviously, I'm out doing my own thing. But yeah, I definitely miss it. It's different. There's different pressures these days. When it all kind of relies on you, you kind of have to come up with everything. And when you're on stage, like, I haven't got someone to turn around to be like, you'll just take
Someone
over.
can help you pick up. But I guess were you 17 when you were first together in the band? When you
16 when we started. Yeah.
Okay, and so that's a crazy 4 years. Incredibly intense
Yeah,
experience.
it was a lot.
It must have been a hell of a lot for you.
It was a lot, and in the end, I really genuinely do think that we needed the break that we had because it was just getting so hectic. Like, we would literally be at award shows and we'd win the most awards on the night and then never see the after party. We'd already be on a plane going somewhere else to do the next show, to go somewhere else, and just by the end of it, it's like, we were kids, man. So it was pretty crazy.
With Tomlinson One Direction, that is the band I am in, was in, whichever way you look at it. Don't really know what else to say about that. Good time in my life. Hopefully we come back.
If you could travel back to any day in your life, which day would you choose and why?
I would probably like to relive us getting put together as a band again. When that first happened on the X Factor, when we got put together as One Direction, that was such a surreal moment. And at one stage, all of us thought we were going home. So probably relive that.
What was it like? Because I've always wanted to ask this. Because you went back to Harry's house. Is that right?
Yeah.
What was those weeks like?
So we just got put together at boot camp, and then we went to Harry's house for like a couple of weeks, or maybe like 10 days, just to kind of get to know each other and kind of jump in at the deep end with that. And I think that showed how well it was going to work, because we all got on well, really, really well from the start. Like, we'd known each other forever. So that was a really special moment. If I'm being honest, I just wasn't ready for the band to go on a break, to be honest.
You ever get tired of talking about One Direction?
Never, honestly. And I'm not fucking bullshitting. Never, ever, ever. No, because it's just like bugs me when you see people from other bands, do you know what I mean? And whatever situation, they want to talk about the past. Look, I grew up in a small town in Doncaster, where I'm from. And that band, you know what I mean, put me in LA today. So, they're the best. Like. And also, now I'm out of it a bit, I can just big them up even more, which is kind of good.
By the way, changed your life and
be a bit more arrogant about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you've come out of it.
Now we're on a break, you know what I mean? Exactly, I can say, yeah, we were good, weren't we?
I know the fans are going to love that you said break still.
Yeah, it is a break, as far as I'm concerned, yeah.
Do you remember the moment where it fully hit you, that One Direction was done?
Yeah, I think that last tour show. We did a show in Sheffield, which is like 20 minutes away from where I live, so a special show for me anyway. And I've got this amazing footage on one of my phones. I'm praying I ain't lost it. Of this time lapse, and I just did it of the dressing room on that whole last day of the tour in my dressing room. And yeah, there was a moment where me and Niall just sat on the sofa and kind of took it all in. Do you know what I mean? Had a moment to ourselves, and yeah, it was a pretty heavy day, to be fair. Pretty heavy.
Do One Direction questions still bother you?
I mean, I do get asked them every day.
Yeah.
Same answer, I suppose. Yeah. I don't care. I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here if there was no 1D. So
that's it.
I mean, it's not going to bother me, is it? Really. But I just hear them a lot. So
that's what I was asking.
If everything gets monotonous,
Yeah, I feel like it's just the same questions. Like, when are you getting back together? What was your favorite song? Are you still going to perform them? Yeah. It's like, you're not going to get any new answers.
No, it's the same thing, to be fair. I mean, and we always get asked them at a time when we're all releasing individual music. Every interview that I've done this week is, there's a question about it. And, Liam brought a song about 3 weeks ago. Louis brought a song out last week. I'm bringing one out now. Larry's probably soon. You know what I mean? And then you get asked. I mean, I'm probably going to go on tour, so probably not for a while. But I mean, it'd be silly not to answer the next part of that question is, it would be silly not to do it. I mean,
but You've given the same answer. You don't need to give it again.
I wasn't asking the question.
Yeah,
I was
no.
Yeah.
You were wondering, does it get annoying?
Because every time I read an interview, whether it's you or anybody else in the band, it's always One Direction. I'm like, what else is there to say?
A lot. There's more to talk about.
Well, okay. There's a lot to say, but like, how much are they actually gonna say?
Well,
yeah. I mean, you know as much as I do. So I mean, we haven't just had that conversation yet. It's not like we're hiding from it.
Yeah.
It's an elephant in the room. It gets asked because it's like, when are you getting back together? I mean, you'll know.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard, you know. Part of it was kind of like we were sad, obviously, that someone had left, but also sad that he was not enjoying it so much that he had to leave. Because I think at the time, too, the tour and everything was going so well, and everyone had kind of got to this place where everyone was kind of living in a way where they, I think, felt pretty good while
Enjoy
touring.
it. Yeah, like, enjoy it. Yeah.
It felt like everyone was kind of enjoying it. And, I'd say a big part of it was us kind of being like, wow, we didn't realize he wasn't enjoying it that much, you know? You know, obviously there was big moments for us where we were like, what we do it, you know, because we were about to start recording a new album and stuff, and it was like, are we recording this without him? But I'd say in the moment, I guess the four of us became closer, because we were like, okay, this is a hurdle that we weren't expecting. And I think you deal with this in many different places when you're with like traveling and touring, and it's a demanding thing, and not everyone likes doing it. But it's kind of like if someone's not enjoying it, you'd rather they don't do it.
Okay, what's the one prevailing memory you have today of that? Was it 4 years?
5.
5 years?
Yeah.
What's one that really jumps out?
One of my favorite memories. I'll give you two. The first one was when we'd just been formed as a band, there was like a picture of us that had been taken from when we were at the show, like someone's mum had taken it. And it was like the first picture of us as the 5 of us. And we were staying at my stepdad's house. We were like living in this little bungalow, all of us together, to like practice, and we were just like singing songs and basically just had a sleepover for like 4 days, and everyone drove down, and there's a tiny little like newsagents down the street, and we'd heard this picture was being put in the paper. So we were like, oh, we're gonna be in the paper. Like, that's crazy. So the 5 of us like left this little bungalow and walked down to the newsagents and got the paper, and then came back and had breakfast, and we're all just like sitting, staring at the paper and like passing around the paper, and we're like, let me see it again, let me see it again. And I don't know, I guess just because we just didn't know what was gonna happen. The other one, I guess, once the band had really started, was we were in Sweden recording What Makes You Beautiful in the studio. Someone came up into the room and was like, there's 2 girls outside. And we were like, why? And they're like, looking for you. And we were all just like, but we're in Sweden, you know? So that was like another...
It's super innocent.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean...
That was kind of thing like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Like, we're in Sweden. How, you know?
How do you feel now, looking back on your days in One Direction?
Having looked at 1D from the outside now, I got to see like how big it was, because when you were in the band, your work just becomes a bit normal, and like you're in a little bubble and you don't get to see what it looks like from the outside.
Yeah.
It's only looking back now I realise how lucky we were. Like, there was no one doing stadiums at the time.
Yeah.
It's just insane. Like,
Well, it was massive. It was huge. Like, I think you know you've made it when you just start having all manner of products and things just known about you. Like, my favourite of the 1D merchandise was the One Direction toothpaste. The Fresh Mint toothpaste.
Oh, I mean, there was fluoride toothpaste, Fresh Mint.
I actually brush my teeth with that every day. I've got 17 fillings.
More sugar in that than a can of Coke. I mean, I'll never be complaining about the 1D tag following me around. Absolutely not.
How did you manage growing up in that public eye? How difficult was that for you?
To be fair, we had each other, and I don't think people realise the power of that, actually. Because, you know, you see solo stars, and like I watched Justin Bieber's new docuseries, and you can see, you know, and a guy you know quite well, and you know how it affected him, and people didn't realise the pressure that he was under, or things like that. And I can relate to that 100%. But we were always lucky that we had each other. I mean, he had his manager and his security guy. We had our manager and our security team, and people, but we also had each other and each other to share the experience with. And you know, I always felt sorry for Justin in that respect. I mean, we came from simple backgrounds, but we all you know, I think we had that in common, and it helped along the way. So when it was all going on around us, we were just kind of like our little bubble, chatting about how crazy it is, and couldn't believe where we were all the time. We never really seen ourselves as like these big celebrities. I think that was more of a out looking in type thing. We were just like in this little fishbowl, having a great time, and all the madness was going on around us. I mean, everyone's smashing it, so we can't really complain. You know.
You talk to each other still quite a lot, but just like friendly stuff, like
we
casual.
We don't really talk about like, work stuff. We'd enough of that.
Yeah.
We obviously don't get to see each other as much.
Do you miss him a lot?
I mean, there's certain parts of it. Sometimes, like when you'd be at a gig or something that happened, and it would remind you of something that happened on stage years ago. I'd go, geez, I wish the boys were here to see that. 'Cause it was, you know, like random, I don't know, something might happen random in the crowd, or an interview in a foreign country might turn a corner and it might have happened before or something like that, and it'll just remind me, and I would just be like, I'd just start laughing or something. But yeah, the odd time. How did Niall Horan become famous? Niall Horan auditioned for a TV show called The X Factor in the UK, failed, and then got put into a band with 4 others that failed. Then we ended up in a band called One Direction.